What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. It's us. Let's get productive. So today I'm going to be talking about a new VST. Now, the last few videos I've done were dedicated mainly to sample packs, and I did a few effects plugins, and those are really cool. Those are all well and good, but I know a lot of you producers out there really love the VSTs. Just like I love the VSTs. Effects plugins are cool, but we want to create. We want to make something dope. So I always look forward to something new and dope in the VST department. And today I have something brand new. The name of the company is The Loops, and the name of their new VST is Studio. Now, Studio is a VST plugin that is full of really creative and nuanced sounds. All of the sounds that I've heard in this thing are really creative, really cool, and that comes as no surprise because anyone who's used to the Loops sample packs or any of the other VSTs that they have, if you had a chance to check them out, they have a couple already out. All of their sounds are always really creative and really different. You can tell they focus heavily on bringing sounds that have a lot of nuance. So I really look forward to checking out this VST, and it did not disappoint. So without wasting any more time, let's get right into it. The Loops Studio. Let's check this thing out and see what it's all about. So as always, I have Logic queued up, and this is Studio. Now, like I said earlier, the Loops already has a couple of VST plugins out. If we just head over to their website really quickly, you can see right here that they have Ethnic Voices, Hortator. I'm probably saying that wrong. They have Pulse, which is one that I really enjoy. Solution, Urban Vault, which is another really dope one, and Temple Tone. And like if you go over to Pulse, you'll see that this is a drum VST. It has a lot of different dope drum samples and sounds, and it is full of a lot of really creative, dope drum sounds. They have different categories like a Mojam kit. They have like a Timbo kit that has Timbaland sounding drums, and it gives you that feel from the early millennium, hard-hitting, really creative, organic sounding Timbaland drums, but with their own twist to it as well. Now, in the VST department, these guys focus heavily on very specific niche instruments, like very specific categories. And this new VST Studio is the first VST that they've come out with that I feel kind of encompasses a little bit of everything that they have to offer, whether it be sound design, whether it be 808s, whether it be bass. They kind of jam-pack everything in here. This is like their first real full standard VST instrument. You have a bass category, a synth category, a Vox category, which when it comes to the Loops is actually a really good category. They have really dope vocal samples, and they have a creative category, which is just full of creative sounds, bass, 808. So it's really dope stuff. Now, if we take a look at the UI, it's very simple, which falls in line with a lot of their other VSTs. They have really simple UI designs, but it's always really clean, always really cool. I kind of feel like it has a little bit of a lo-fi vibe to it. Like if you look on the screen here, if you look over here on the right, next to where it says pitch bend, depending on what category you're in, the photo of the instrument changes. So if you're in the bass category, you kind of have this amp over here, this, and then if you go over to the synth category, you have a synthesizer right here. I like how the photos look. They have kind of like an animated kind of Lego kind of looks. It kind of feels lo-fi to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's the animations that people usually put to lo-fi beats or something like that, and the colors. But I'm getting a lo-fi feel to it, even though this isn't technically a lo-fi plugin. But it looks really cool. I like that minimal kind of look. It has a really clean look to it, has a gray tone with the orange. Simple, straightforward. If you look over here on the left, you'll see you have your volume control, your pan knob, and you have a VU meter over here that actually works. And you'll notice, like if you play some of the sounds, the meter is actually moving. You have an LFO section right here. You have an amp envelope section. So, you know, your attack, your decay, your sustain, and your release. And you have a pitch bend knob right over here on the right side. Down at the bottom, you have a distortion section, it works really well with a lot of the sounds that are inside of this thing. You have a delay section. you have a reverb section, and you have a chorus effect, which is really dope for a lot of the sounds that are going on in here. Right over here, you can change your different voicing modes. You can go from poly to legato to mono, and you can adjust the glide knob, and you can also adjust your filter type. So you have a high pass and a low pass filter. And down over here at the bottom, you have your keyboard. You can trigger some of these sounds, and I like how the keyboard looks. It's just a bunch of square boxes. It's not the standard keyboard. It kind of works with the aesthetic of that minimalistic look and vibe that they have going on in the UI design, and I like that. Now, if you come up here to the top, you see a little bit of Studio, the Loops branding right here, and if you click on the Loops, it brings you over to the website. So if there's any other VSTs you want to check out or expansion packs, I'm sure they're going to probably, it feels like they're going to come out with expansion packs for this thing. Over here in the center is your presets. Now you can just move forward with the arrow here and you can play some of the sounds, or you can press the down arrow and go through the different categories. Now, right now, they have an 808 category, a bass category, creative category, a synth category, and a Vox category, a voice category. Now, I will say, and you'll hear it in a second when we go through the presets, a lot of the sounds in this thing sound really cool. There's a lot of nuance, a lot of character in these sounds. The one thing, if there is a thing that I'd have to pick that, I wish maybe was a little bit different, the one thing I would say is I do wish that they had a few more, like they had a bells category or a keys category or a plucks category, just because a lot of the sounds inside of this thing, I think, work really well when it comes to building the base of your beat. If you're going to be playing chords or if you're going to be adding background effects to your beat, they have some really dope sounds for that. But a lot of the sounds are chord, I call it chord driven, like your pads and your synths, things that you can play big, lush, huge sounding chords. But when it comes to the melodic side of your beats, a lot of times I like to go to keys, I like to go to plucks, things that you can really play out a really cool melody because the sustain isn't so long on the sound. And they don't really technically have a category for that. If you go to the creative section or you go to some of the synths, have a short sustain and a short release, so it kind of gives you that plucks kind of sound. But I wish they had a whole category dedicated to plucks and keys. And again, that's a small thing. It's a minor thing because, like you'll hear in a second, the sounds inside of this thing are really dope. So I almost don't even really care that they don't have a plucks category, but I just think it would make it a lot easier if they had a whole category just dedicated to that. But again, that's light because that's something that can be fixed with expansion packs. So the loops, if you're watching this right now, you should definitely come out with an expansion pack that gives you a plucks category and a keys category, all of that kind of stuff, because I think it's going to take something that's already really dope and it's going to take it to a whole nother level. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go through some of the presets. I'm going to go through the category. I'm not going to go through all of the presets, but I'm going to just randomly pick sounds to give you guys an idea of what's going on inside of this VST. Now, it's going to be random. I'm not going to just go down the list. I do that in a lot of my other videos, but I decided that I'm going to start making it more random when I go through the presets so that we can get a feel of just how dope the VST really is. If no matter what sound I pick in the presets category, it's a dope sound, random, then that really says a lot about how much time is spent on the sound design. So we're going to just go through some of these presets. I'm going to start off in the creatives category. And like I said, we're going to randomly go through these sounds and see what some of these sound like. Let's start off here, basement sound. Like I said, full of nuance, full of character. A lot of these sounds have interesting textures, interesting nuances to the design itself. It's kind of funny they have a whole creative category when even outside of the creative category, a lot of their presets have a lot of creativity to the sound design. So we're gonna go to another category. We're gonna go over to the synths category. You see, this is what I mean. Like in the synths category, you have this sound here called drop, and it's really cool. Like it would be great for a counter melody in one of the beats that I'm doing, but I want a whole category dedicated to sounds like these plucky sounding uh keys sounding type categories. A whole category of these type of sounds, and I feel like this whole VST would be complete. It already has really dope presets and really dope sound design, but I just need more of this so that I can complete a beat. That's really dope. That's some of the sounds in synths. We could go through some of the Vox category. Crazy, crazy. And it's really interesting that they have the Vox category broken up into its own categories within the category. So when you go to Vox, you have looped voice, you have looped vocal samples, you have ad lib type vocal samples, and you have ritual vocal samples. Really cool stuff. We can go over to bass. Go to 808s. And because they have a category like 808s and they have a bass category, it's actually really cool that they have a distortion effect built inside of the VST because it allows you to add more character and amplify that bass and that 808 a little bit more without having to go outside of the VST and add a plugin or anything like that. So that's really cool. That's crazy. This bass is fire. That's dope. So yeah, that's some of the presets inside of this thing. Like I said, a lot of character, a lot of nuance in these sounds. Really dope. Like I was just randomly going through sounds, but any sound you pick, I find that there's a use for it. I've made a few beats with this VST and I've been able to go through the categories and check out a lot of the different sounds, and just randomly picking sounds out, I usually find something that actually really sparks a creative idea. Hopefully they come out with some expansions. I really would love a drums category. I would love a plucks category, a keys category. Like honestly, if they took some of the drums that they have in their Pulse VST, that drum VST that I showed you guys earlier, if they took some of the drums from that and made a drums category inside of this VST, I could do a whole beat in this VST. I don't even need to go anywhere because their sound design is so dope. So what I want to do right now is I want to get right into the cookup. I'm going to show you guys a beat I made using this VST. Now, the beat I actually made it on my laptop. So I'm going to just bring the 2-track in of the beat that I made so we can just listen to that back. And I'm going to just play it back for you guys on here. Now, all of the sounds you hear inside of this beat, obviously with the exception of the drums, but the bass, the 808, every single sound you hear inside of this beat is all coming from the studio VST. So let's just take a listen and let's hear what this thing sounds like. And that's it. That's the beat that I made using Studio. Now, like I said earlier, I really believe that the sounds inside of this thing are really different, really creative. I said that to you guys earlier. You're probably tired of hearing me say it, but I really mean it. Like there are VSTs on the market that have really clean sounds. The quality of the sound is just really high, really, really, really great sounds. But what I notice in a lot of VSTs that come out are the sounds are really straightforward. You know what I'm saying? A piano sounds like a piano. It's a really good sounding piano or really live sounding piano, but there's nothing interesting about the sound. So I'm always looking forward to these VSTs that sometimes are a little bit underrated, but when you go through the sounds category, there's just so many interesting textures and characteristics to the sound. Like I love that. I live for that. I can't tell you how important it is for a sound to just have something different about it. Like if we're gonna get digital and we're gonna have VSTs, And we're going to have VSTs that are full of sample-based instruments, a whole category of pianos, a whole category of guitars. There has to be something interesting about the sounds. If every guitar sounds just like a different type of live guitar, like I could just, like, what's the point? Like, we could just use guitars. If we're going to use digital stuff and we're going to get really crazy in this digital age, let's get crazy and create some really cool sound designs. And I feel like they achieved that with Studio. There's a lot of really cool sounds in this thing. So let me know what you guys think. From the little bit that you heard here, is this something that you think you're going to check out? Is this something that you think you could add to your arsenal? As always, leave a comment down below. Let me know if there's any new VSTs that you'd like to see me bring to this channel. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you can stay notified anytime I drop a new video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.